President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi held a meeting with the Suez Canal Authority chief where he followed up on the developments of navigation at the canal at a time of accelerating regional conditions and the global trade war concerns. The President also met the chief of the African Development Bank Group on the bilateral cooperation in Egypt as well as on the continental level. The details follow.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Monday stressed the necessity of holding an active contact between the Suez Canal Authority and its agents and promoting its strategic ties with the global navigation routes and relevant international organizations at the times of crisis. The President made these remarks in a meeting with the authority chief, Osama Rabia, and the board chairman of the South Red Sea Arsenal Company. President al-Sisi urged the continued upgrade of maritime and navigation services at the canal along the highest quality standards, being a key axis of the world's trade movement. The head of state was also briefed on the efforts exerted for maintaining the level of navigation and maritime services in the canal amid the current international and regional challenges, urging the completion of development works at the canal's navigation route. Meeting with Chief of the African Development Bank Group, Akinwumi Adesina, President al-Sisi asserted the importance of continuing joint cooperation in different fields, particularly in the new and renewable energy, food and water security. The meeting touched on the bank's supportive efforts for economic development and reforms in Egypt, with the two sides agreeing on the implementation of a number of projects under NWFE, Egypt's Nexus for Food, Water and Energy Program. The bank's chief hailed Egypt's pivotal role in enhancing its efforts in the African development pursuits.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi inquired about the health case of prominent novelist Salawullah Ibrahim and directed that all medical measures be taken to treat him. The President was briefed on the developments of the health condition of the prominent novelist and reviewed the comprehensive medical measures taken by the Ministry of Health in this regard. The head of state also instructed the continued follow-up and the provision of all the aspects of the special care for Salawullah until his health stabilizes. The prominent novelist fell down at his home on May the 1st, resulting in a fracture in his right femur. Egypt's First Lady Mrs. Intisar al-Sisi expressed an honor and a pride over holding the Egyptian Red Crescent's honorary presidency. Over her social media account, the First Lady said that the Egyptian Red Crescent embodies the highest meanings of humanitarian and voluntary work, hoping that such charitable work outreaches the largest number of beneficiaries, coping with the Egyptian prestigious status. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Migration Badr Abdulati conducted phone calls with the Qatari, Omani and Iranian counterparts where they discussed the latest regional developments. Egypt's top diplomat hailed a positive note on the latest round of the US-Iran nuclear talks, hoping to restore regional stability. The details follow.
Minister of Foreign Immigration and Expatriates Affairs Badr Abdulati on Monday discussed in a phone call with Qatari Foreign Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman II the next steps taken on the implementation of an Arab-Islamic plan for reconstruction in the Gaza Strip. The phone call also reviewed preparations for the upcoming Cairo International Conference on Gaza Reconstruction, due to be hosted by Egypt in coordination with the Palestinian Authority and the United Nations. The two ministers also highlighted both countries' efforts, along with the United States, for resuming a ceasefire agreement in Gaza, releasing the hostages and captives, and ensuring the immediate and unhindered access of humanitarian aid to the war-torn strip. Abdulati and his Qatari counterpart further hailed an announcement on the release of an American-Israeli hostage being an important push to the truce mediation efforts towards achieving a fair and sustainable peace in the region. Meanwhile, the foreign minister held two calls with Omani foreign minister Badr al-Busaidi and Iranian foreign minister Abbas Araghchi. The phone conversation focused on the latest regional developments, particularly with regards to the U.S.-Iran fourth round talks on the latter's nuclear program, which was hosted by Oman on Sunday. Egypt's top diplomat hoped that such negotiations lead to closing ranks between Iran and the United States, helping to de-escalate regional tensions and restore security and stability.
And back home, where Egypt has retrieved 25 looted antiquities from the United States, following a 3-year legal and diplomatic campaign involving the Egyptian consulate in New York, with support from the U.S. District Attorney's Office, law enforcement, prosecutors, and private collectors. The artifacts, including coffin lids, ancient jewelry, statues, and the rare Fayoum mummy portrait, were handed over in Cairo. A joint committee from the Foreign Ministry and the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities oversaw the handover. The recovered items are stone and wooden sarcophagus lids, ceramic funerary masks, a large alabaster vessel, and the Fayoum portrait from the Greco-Roman era, noted for the striking realism. Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities, Mohammed Ismail Khalid, said that the objects have been illegally excavated and smuggled abroad and not stolen from the museum collections.
Minister of Foreign Immigration Expatriate Affairs Badr Abdulati on Monday held a phone call with the German Foreign Minister Johann Wadefur, greeting him on assuming the post and hoping to promote the strong ties binding the two countries through a wider cooperation in different fields. Egypt's top diplomat hailed the promoted economic cooperation with Germany through encouraging joint investments, increasing the trade exchange volume, and boosting national exports to the European country. The meeting touched on the immigration file and exporting qualified Egyptian workers to Germany. Abdulati also hopes for the ratification in the near future of the second tranche of the European financial package provided for Egypt to the tune of €4 billion in the framework of the six-axis strategic partnership between Egypt and the European Union. Egypt's stock market indices fluctuated in the trading session amid selling and purchasing operations by optimistic investors on both directions. So the benchmark EGX 30 index went up by 0.47% to close at 31,577 points, but the EGX 70 index for small and medium businesses shed 0.02%, while the broader EGX 100 index increased by 0.04% at closure. However, the market capitalization gained £7 billion to close at £2,246 billion amid transactions of about £52.4 billion.